Hello, students, and welcome to today's lesson. I'm so glad you're here because you've already taken the first step toward an exciting journey, learning English. You might be wondering, why should I learn English? Well, let me tell you why it's so important. Benglish is spoken all around the world. If you learn English, you can talk to people from many different countries, whether you're traveling, studying, or working. It opens up so many opportunities. Think about how powerful it is to be able to communicate with someone from the other side of the globe. Whether you want to get a good job, work for an international company, or even make friends from different cultures, knowing English will help you do that. Now, I know learning a new language can seem difficult at first. Maybe you've tried before and thought, this is too hard. But let me tell you, it doesn't have to be. The key is to take it step by step. Just like climbing a mountain, you don't reach the top all at once. You start at the bottom and make progress slowly. That's how learning English works too. And guess what? It can actually be fun if you do it the right way. In this lesson, I'm going to share with you the best method for learning English. It's not about memorizing a long list of words or studying difficult grammar rules right away. Instead, we're going to make learning English enjoyable, step by step. By the end of this lesson, you'll feel confident that you have a clear path to follow. So let's get started on this journey together, and remember, you can do it. Chapter 1. Set a clear goal. Now that you've decided to learn English, the very first thing you need to do is set a clear goal. You might be asking yourself, why do I need a goal? Let me explain why this is so important. Think about it like this. When you're planning a trip, you need to know where you want to go. Imagine trying to get on a bus without knowing the destination. You could end up anywhere. It's the same with learning English. If you don't know why you're learning or what you want to achieve, it's easy to feel lost or give up. A clear goal acts like a map. It shows you where you want to go and helps you stay focused on the path ahead. Let's talk about some common goals for learning English. Maybe you're learning English for work. Many jobs require good English skills, especially if you want to work for an international company. In that case, your goal might be something like, I want to speak English confidently in my workplace, or I want to write emails in English without making mistakes. When you have a specific goal like that, you know exactly what skills you need to focus on. Or maybe you're learning English because you love to travel. English is a global language, and you can use it in so many countries, even if it's not the native language there. If this is your reason, your goal might be, I want to use English to ask for directions and order food when I travel. Having this goal in mind will guide you to practice the vocabulary and phrases you'll actually need when you're exploring new places. Some of you might be learning English because you want to improve your communication skills. Maybe you dream of having conversations with people from different countries. Or perhaps you want to understand your favorite English songs and movies. In that case, your goal could be, I want to speak with confidence in everyday conversations. Or, I want to watch English movies without subtitles. These are great goals because they give you something exciting to aim for. Imagine how satisfying it will be when you can watch a movie or show and understand everything without needing the subtitles. Whatever your reason for learning, having a clear goal will keep you motivated. When you have a goal, you have something to work towards. It gives you a sense of purpose. Learning a language isn't always easy, and there will be times when you might feel stuck or frustrated. But when you remember your goal, whether it's getting a better job, traveling confidently, or chatting with new friends, you'll have the motivation to keep going, even when things get tough. And here's another tip. Don't be afraid to set smaller goals along the way. Big goals, like speaking English fluently, can sometimes feel overwhelming, but if you break them down into smaller steps, it becomes much easier. For example, if your big goal is to speak English fluently, a smaller goal could be, I want to learn 10 new words every week. Achieving these smaller goals will give you a sense of progress and keep you motivated as you move toward the bigger goal. So, take a moment and think about your own goal for learning English. Why do you want to learn? What will make you feel successful? Write it down and keep it somewhere you can see it every day. This goal will be your guide throughout your English learning journey, reminding you why you started and helping you stay focused as you move forward. Remember, with a clear goal, learning English becomes a journey with a purpose. Every step you take will bring you closer to reaching that goal, and before you know it, you'll be amazed at how much progress you've made. Chapter 2. Learn basic vocabulary. First, after setting your goal, the next big step in learning English is building your vocabulary. Vocabulary is like the foundation of a house. It's what everything else stands on. If you don't know the right words, it's hard to build sentences or understand what others are saying. That's why learning basic vocabulary is one of the most important things you can do when starting to learn English. But here's the good news. You don't have to learn every word in the English language. In fact, you should focus on the words you'll use the most. Think about it. When you speak in your own language, you don't use fancy or difficult words all the time, right? You use simple, everyday words. The same is true for English. Start by learning the words you'll hear or need to use every day. This will help you start speaking English faster and make you feel more confident. So where should you begin? Let's start with the basics. Common words used in daily life. These are the words that you will come across almost every day, no matter what your goal for learning English is. For example, you should start with greetings. Learn how to say, hello, good morning, how are you? These are simple but powerful phrases that will help you communicate with others from the very beginning. Next, think about numbers. Numbers are everywhere. Whether you're shopping, reading the time, or asking for directions, you'll need to know how to count and understand numbers. So make sure you learn how to say numbers like 1, 2, 3, and so on. It might seem simple, but it's a big step toward being comfortable in everyday situations. Colors are another great set of words to learn early on. You use colors all the time, whether you're describing something, shopping for clothes, or just having a conversation. Words like red, blue, green, and yellow are easy to learn and will be useful in many different situations. Then, think about food vocabulary. Everyone loves talking about food. Learning the names of different foods will help you when you're at a restaurant, grocery store, or even just talking about your favorite dishes with friends. Words like bread, milk, apple, and rice are some of the basic ones to start with, and as you go, you can add more foods to your vocabulary list. Don't forget about action words or verbs too. Words like eat, go, run, and walk will help you describe what you or others are doing. These are some of the most important words you'll use when forming sentences, so learning them early will make it easier to talk about your daily life in English. Now, you might be wondering, how do I actually learn and remember all these words? Learning vocabulary doesn't have to be hard, and it doesn't have to be boring either. There are lots of fun ways to practice new words and make sure they stick in your memory. Here are some of the best methods. 1. Use flashcards. Flashcards are a simple but very effective way to learn new words. You can make your own flashcards by writing the English word on one side and the meaning or picture on the other side. Or you can use flashcard apps like Anki or Quizlet, where you can create your own digital flashcards or use ones that others have made. With flashcards, you can practice anytime, whether you're waiting for a bus, having a break, or before bed. The more you practice, the faster you'll remember the words. 2. Download a vocabulary app. These days, there are so many apps designed to help you learn vocabulary in a fun and interactive way. Apps like Duolingo, Memrise, and Babbel are great tools for practicing new words every day. They often include games, quizzes, and even short lessons that help you review and practice your vocabulary in a fun way. The best part? You can learn wherever you are, even if you only have a few minutes to spare. 3. Write the words down. Writing is one of the best ways to remember new words. Every time you learn a new word, write it down in a notebook. But don't just write it once. Try using it in a sentence. For example, if you learned the word apple, write a sentence like, I eat an apple every day. By using the word in context, you'll remember it better and understand how it fits into real-life situations. Plus, you'll be practicing your writing skills at the same time. 5. Label objects around you. This is a fun and very useful tip. Look around your room or home and start labeling things with English words. For example, put a label on your door that says door, on your chair that says chair, and on your table that says table. Every time you see the object, you'll also see the word. This constant exposure to the words in your everyday environment will help them stick in your mind. 5. Practice with others. If you have a friend or language partner who is also learning English, practice together. You can quiz each other on new words. Try having short conversations using only the new vocabulary you've learned, or even play word games like 20 questions where you describe a word without saying it, and the other person has to guess. Practicing with others not only helps you remember the words better, but also makes learning more fun. 6. Use new words in real-life situations. The best way to learn vocabulary is by using it. Don't be afraid to try using the new words you've learned in real conversations. If you're talking to someone who speaks English, try to slip in a few of the new words. If you're practicing by yourself, try describing what you're doing as you go about your day. For example, as you're cooking, say, I'm cooking rice, or I'm cutting a carrot. This will help you get used to using English in your daily routine. Learning vocabulary is a gradual process, and it's important not to rush it. Focus on learning a few new words every day and reviewing them often. Over time, you'll see your vocabulary grow, and you'll be able to speak and understand more and more English. So remember, start with the words you use in daily life. Use tools like flashcards, apps, and writing to practice. And most importantly, use the words in real-life situations. Bit by bit, you'll build a strong vocabulary foundation that will help you in every part of your English learning journey. Chapter 3. Practice speaking from day one. One of the most important steps in learning English, or any language, is to start speaking from the very beginning. I know this might sound scary at first. Maybe you're thinking, but I don't know enough words yet, or what if I make a mistake? Don't worry. Everyone starts at the same place, and here's the secret. The sooner you start speaking, the faster you'll improve. Even if you only know a few words, putting them into practice through speaking will help those words stick in your memory and make you feel more comfortable using them. Speaking is how you bring the language to life. It's one thing to read or listen to English, but it's completely different when you actually speak it. Your brain works differently when you're speaking because it's trying to pull everything together: vocabulary, grammar, pronunciation. And guess what? The more you practice speaking, the more natural it will become. You won't have to think about the words as much. They will start to flow. Now, I know what you're thinking. How can I practice speaking if I'm just a beginner? It's okay if you don't know many words at first. The key is to start with what you do know. Even if you can only say simple phrases like, "Hello, my name is Lucas," or "How are you?" That's a start. Every bit of speaking practice counts. In fact, starting with small, simple conversations will build your confidence and help you get used to using English. Here's another important thing to remember. Making mistakes is totally normal. In fact, it's a natural part of learning any new skill. Think about it like learning to ride a bike. You don't get it perfect the first time, right? You might fall a few times, but with each fall, you learn what you need to do differently. Language learning is the same. The more you speak, the more you'll learn from your mistakes, and that's how you'll improve. If you wait until you feel like your English is perfect to start speaking, you might miss out on so many opportunities to practice and grow. So, don't worry about making mistakes. Embrace them. They are proof that you're learning. Let me give you a few simple tips for practicing speaking from day one. 1. Speak to yourself. One of the easiest and most effective ways to practice speaking is to talk to yourself in English. You don't need a partner for this, and you can do it anywhere, at home, while walking, or even while cooking. For example, describe what you're doing as you go about your day. I am brushing my teeth. I am eating breakfast. I am going to the store. It might feel a little strange at first, but trust me, it works. Talking to yourself helps you get used to forming sentences and speaking out loud, even if no one is there to hear you. You can also use a mirror and pretend you're having a conversation. This will not only help your speaking, but also your confidence. 2. Use language apps. There are many great apps designed to help you practice speaking. Apps like Duolingo, HelloTalk, or Babbel have speaking exercises that encourage you to repeat phrases, answer questions, or even have simple conversations with a virtual assistant. These apps are especially helpful because they guide you through the process, and you can practice speaking in small, bite-sized lessons. Many of these apps also have pronunciation guides, so you can hear how a word should sound and try to match it. It's like having a mini language teacher in your pocket. 3. Find a speaking partner online. One of the best ways to improve your speaking skills is to practice with someone else. If you don't have anyone nearby to speak English with, don't worry. There are plenty of ways to find language partners online. Platforms like Tandem, Speaky, or Conversation Exchange allow you to connect with people from all over the world who are learning English or are native speakers. You can set up video or voice calls to practice your conversation skills. Don't worry about being perfect. Many of the people on these platforms are learning too, so you can support each other as you improve. And the best part? You might even make new friends from different countries. If you feel a bit shy about speaking to a real person at first, that's okay. You can start with voice messages or text chats and gradually work your way up to real-time conversations. The important thing is to take that first step and put yourself out there. The more you practice with others, the more confident and fluent you'll become. Practice repeating what you hear. Another great way to practice speaking is by repeating what you hear. This could be from a podcast, a YouTube video, or even a song. Pick something that is in simple English, something you can understand, and then try to repeat it out loud. This technique helps with both speaking and listening. As you repeat the sentences, you'll get used to the flow and rhythm of English. You'll also improve your pronunciation by trying to copy how the speaker says each word. Don't worry if it's not perfect. Just keep practicing, and you'll get better with time. 5. Record yourself speaking. Recording yourself is a powerful way to track your progress and identify areas where you can improve. You can start by recording short sentences or introductions, like, "Hi, my name is Lucas, and I'm learning English." Then, listen back to your recording. How does it sound? Are there words you find difficult to pronounce? Do your sentences sound clear and natural? By listening to yourself, you'll notice things that you might not have realized while speaking. Over time, you can compare your recordings and hear how much progress you've made. 6. Turn everyday tasks into speaking practice. Everyday activities are full of opportunities to practice speaking. For example, when you're cooking, you can talk through the steps in English. First, I cut the vegetables, then I boil the water. When you're getting ready in the morning, describe what you're doing. I'm brushing my hair, I'm getting dressed. You can also practice speaking while watching TV or reading. After watching a show, try summarizing it in English. This show is about a family that travels around the world. By turning your daily routine into speaking practice, you'll start thinking in English more naturally. 7. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. Finally, and most importantly, don't be afraid of making mistakes. Mistakes are part of the learning process, and the more you speak, the more you'll improve. Every time you speak, you're getting better, even if it doesn't feel perfect. Remember, no one expects you to speak perfect English from day one. Everyone makes mistakes, even native speakers. So, be kind to yourself, celebrate your progress, and keep practicing. The more you speak, the more confident and fluent you'll become. In summary, practicing speaking is one of the fastest ways to improve your English. Start small, don't worry about making mistakes, and practice whenever you can. Whether you're speaking to yourself, using an app, or finding a partner, the more you speak, the closer you'll get to fluency. And remember, practice makes progress. Chapter 4. Listen and repeat. After setting clear goals, building your vocabulary, and practicing speaking, it's time to focus on listening, an essential part of learning English. Listening helps you understand how the language sounds, how words are used in context, and how sentences are formed naturally. By hearing English spoken by others, you'll start to pick up the rhythm and flow of the language, which will improve both your understanding and your speaking skills. In fact, listening and speaking go hand in hand. The more you listen, the better you'll be at speaking. When you listen to English, your brain absorbs the sounds, pronunciation, and sentence patterns, even if you don't understand every word at first. That's why it's important to listen to as much English as you can, as often as you can. You don't need to understand every single word, just hearing the language will help your brain get used to it. So, how can you practice listening? Let's start with simple English podcasts. There are many podcasts designed specifically for English learners. These podcasts often feature slow, clear speech and use simple vocabulary. You can listen to them while you're doing other activities, like commuting, exercising, or even cooking. This way, you're constantly surrounded by English, and your ears are getting used to the sound of the language. Some popular podcasts for beginners include The English We Speak and ESL Pod. Find one that suits your level and interests and make it part of your daily routine. If you're more into music, songs are a fantastic way to practice listening. Choose simple English songs with clear lyrics. You don't need to focus on every word, just listen and enjoy. Music has a way of sticking in our minds, so you'll find yourself remembering phrases and words just from hearing them in a song. Sing along when you feel confident, and don't be afraid to repeat the lyrics over and over. Some great songs for beginners might include popular children's songs or simple pop songs with repetitive lyrics. Another great tool for listening practice is watching TV shows or movies. Many streaming platforms have English subtitles, which can be very helpful for learners. Try watching shows designed for children or beginners, as the language will be simpler and easier to understand. Shows like Peppa Pig or Friends, if you're more advanced, are great choices. Start by watching with English subtitles so you can follow along, then challenge yourself to watch without them. Don't worry if you don't understand everything. Focus on the general meaning and how words are pronounced. But here's the real key to making the most of your listening practice. Repeat what you hear. Repetition is a powerful tool for learning. When you hear a word or phrase that you don't know, pause and repeat it out loud. This helps improve your pronunciation and makes the word or phrase stick in your memory. For example, if you hear the phrase, "I'm going to the store," say it back out loud, mimicking the speaker's pronunciation and intonation. This way, you're not just passively listening, you're actively engaging with the language. By listening and repeating, you'll also improve your fluency. Fluency isn't just about speaking quickly. It's about speaking naturally, without stopping to think about every word. The more you repeat what you hear, the more natural your speech will become. Over time, your brain will start to automatically produce the sounds and patterns you've heard, making you more confident in your speaking. Here are a few more tips to help you with listening and repeating. 1. Use language learning apps with listening exercises. Apps like Duolingo or Rosetta Stone have listening sections where you can hear words and sentences and repeat them. These exercises are specifically designed to improve both your listening and speaking skills, and they often come with built-in feedback to help you correct your pronunciation. 2. Watch YouTube videos for English learners. There are many YouTube channels where native speakers teach English or have simple conversations. Channels like English Addict with Mr. Duncan or BBC Learning English offer free lessons and conversations that are easy to follow. Pause the video after a sentence or phrase, repeat it out loud, and try to copy the speaker's accent and rhythm. 3. Create a listening routine. Set aside 10 to 15 minutes a day just to listen to English. You can listen while walking, cooking, or even getting ready in the morning. The more consistent you are, the faster you'll improve. Listening and repeating are simple but effective methods to improve your English. Remember, it's not about understanding every word. It's about exposing yourself to the language as much as possible. The more you listen, the more natural English will sound, and the more confident you'll become in both understanding and speaking. Chapter 5. Build grammar. Slowly. Now that you're practicing listening, speaking, and expanding your vocabulary, it's time to talk about grammar. Grammar is the backbone of any language. It's what helps us put words together to form clear, meaningful sentences. However, when you're just starting out, grammar can feel overwhelming. There are so many rules, exceptions, and structures to learn. But here's the important thing to remember. You don't need to learn all the grammar at once. It's perfectly okay to take it step by step. In fact, that's the best way to do it. The first thing you need to know is that basic grammar will help you create simple, clear sentences. You don't need to know complex grammar rules in the beginning. Focus on learning how to form basic sentences like, I am learning English, or she likes coffee. These are simple but powerful sentences that you'll use every day. Once you feel comfortable with these structures, you can gradually add more grammar rules to your learning. Here's an easy way to start. Learn the basic sentence structure of English, which is usually subject plus verb plus object. For example, in the sentence, I am learning English, I is the subject, am learning is the verb, and English is the object. Understanding this structure will help you form sentences more easily. Let's look at another example. She likes coffee. In this sentence, she is the subject, likes is the verb, and coffee is the object. With just this simple sentence structure, you can start talking about all kinds of things. I eat pizza. He plays soccer. They watch movies. Once you master these basics, you can build on them with more complex sentences over time. To practice basic grammar, there are plenty of resources you can use. You can find beginner grammar books that explain things step by step with examples and exercises. Look for books like English Grammar in Use by Raymond Murphy or Essential Grammar in Use, which are designed for beginners. These books break down grammar rules into easy-to-understand lessons with lots of practice exercises to help you learn at your own pace. You can also use online exercises to practice grammar. Websites like Perfect English Grammar, British Council Learn English, or ESL Library offer free exercises where you can test your understanding of basic grammar rules. These websites often provide explanations with examples, so if you get something wrong, you can learn from your mistake. Another great way to practice grammar is by writing. Try writing simple sentences using the grammar rules you've learned. For example, if you're learning how to use the present tense, write sentences like, I go to the park every day, or she drinks coffee in the morning. Writing helps you apply what you've learned and also improves your ability to form correct sentences when speaking. As you build your grammar knowledge, don't rush. It's better to fully understand one rule before moving on to the next. Grammar is like a puzzle. Each piece fits together to form a bigger picture. Take your time with each piece, and soon the whole puzzle will make sense. And remember, just like with speaking and listening, making mistakes is part of learning grammar. Don't be afraid to get things wrong. Every time you make a mistake, you're learning something new. So, embrace the learning process and take it step by step. Over time, your grammar will improve, and you'll be able to form more complex and accurate sentences in English. In summary, building your grammar skills doesn't have to be hard. Start with simple sentence structures. Practice regularly with books and online exercises, and don't be afraid to make mistakes. By learning grammar slowly and steadily, you'll create a strong foundation for speaking and writing in English with confidence. Chapter 6. Practice. Every day. Now that you've learned the basics, here's one of the most important things to remember. Practice every single day. Consistency is key when learning English, or any language for that matter. You don't need to study for hours each day. In fact, even 10 minutes a day can make a big difference. What matters is that you keep practicing regularly. The more consistent you are, the faster you'll improve. Think of learning English like learning to play a musical instrument. You wouldn't expect to play a song perfectly after just one practice session, right? It's the same with English. The more you use the language, the more natural it will become. So how can you practice English every day, even if you don't have much time? Let's talk about a few simple but effective ways. One way to practice is by reading a short article or book in English every day. It doesn't have to be a long, complicated article. Just a few paragraphs will do. You can read the news, a blog post, or even a story for beginners. The important thing is to get used to seeing English words and sentences, which will help expand your vocabulary and improve your reading skills. Over time, you'll find that reading in English becomes easier and more enjoyable. Another great way to practice is by listening to an English podcast. As we mentioned before, there are many podcasts designed for English learners. You can listen while you're doing other things, like walking or cooking. The key is to make it a habit. Listen for just 10 to 15 minutes a day, and soon you'll start noticing an improvement in your listening and comprehension skills. If you enjoy writing, try keeping a daily journal in English. You don't have to write much, just a few sentences about your day or your thoughts. For example, you could write, "Today I went to the park. The weather was nice. I saw a dog playing." This simple exercise will help you practice grammar and vocabulary while also improving your writing skills. Plus, it's a great way to track your progress over time. The most important thing to remember is to be consistent. Even if you only have a few minutes each day, that time adds up. A little bit of practice every day is far more effective than trying to do hours of studying once a week. So, find a routine that works for you and stick to it. The results will come and you'll be amazed at how much progress you can make with just a little bit of effort each day. Chapter 7. Stay positive and motivated. Learning English, like any skill, can be challenging at times. There may be moments when you feel frustrated or think that you're not making progress. But here's something important to remember. Stay positive and motivated. Learning a language is a journey, and it takes time. The key is to enjoy the process and celebrate every step you take, no matter how small. One of the best ways to stay motivated is to reward yourself for your progress. Did you learn a new set of vocabulary words this week? Treat yourself to something you enjoy, whether it's a favorite snack or a fun activity. Did you successfully have a conversation in English for the first time? Celebrate that achievement. Every bit of progress you make is worth recognizing, and rewarding yourself will keep you motivated to keep going. It's also important to set small, achievable goals. For example, instead of saying, "I want to be fluent in English," try setting a more specific goal like, "I want to learn 10 new words this week," or "I want to understand a short podcast episode." When you achieve these smaller goals, you'll feel a sense of accomplishment, which will keep you motivated to keep learning. Another great tip for staying motivated is to find ways to make learning fun. Do you love music? Try learning the lyrics to your favorite English songs. Do you enjoy movies? Watch an English film and challenge yourself to understand as much as you can. Learning doesn't have to feel like a chore. The more enjoyable you make it, the more likely you are to stick with it. And finally, always remember that learning English takes time, but with patience and perseverance, you will succeed. Everyone learns at their own pace, so don't compare yourself to others. Focus on your own progress and be proud of how far you've come. If you ever feel discouraged, just remind yourself why you started learning in the first place. Whether it's for a job, travel, or simply to communicate with others, your goal is worth the effort. The most important thing is to stay positive. Learning a language can be tough, but it's also incredibly rewarding. Each new word, each new sentence is a step closer to fluency. Keep going, and remember, you can do it. To sum it all up, learning English step by step is the best way to achieve success. Start by setting a clear goal, whether it's for work, travel, or personal growth. Then, begin with the basics. Build your vocabulary by learning common words used in daily life. Practice speaking from day one, even if you're just talking to yourself. Listen to English as much as possible, and don't forget to repeat what you hear to improve your pronunciation. Learn grammar slowly, focusing on simple sentence structures before moving on to more complex rules. And most importantly, practice every day. Even just 10 minutes can make a difference. Finally, always stay positive and motivated. Celebrate your progress, set small goals, and enjoy the learning process. Learning English may take time, but with consistent effort and a positive mindset, you will succeed. So keep going, stay dedicated, and remember, you can do it. Your journey to learning English is a rewarding one, and with each step, you're getting closer to fluency.